Hello everybody. Today I think I'm going to do a what's for dinner video. I was starting to get my dinner prepped and ready to go, and I thought the way I had everything already set up and laid out, I thought it might be nice to do a video on that. Without making it extra long, I had already prepped everything, and the reason why I really did this was because my husband is still at work, and he called to tell me that he probably wouldn't be getting off of work until a little after 6. So I didn't want to start cooking anything until after he had already started heading this way, so that it would be ready when he got here. But I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and get everything set up, and then when he calls me, I could just go ahead and start cooking. And it just worked out this way that I could do a video so that it actually cuts out a lot of time, so you don't have to, or I'm not recording all this prep time. So I'm just going to show you what I've got ready to go, and then as it starts to cook, then I can video and show you that as well. Okay, so what I'm going to fix for dinner tonight, this is actually some cauliflower, and then underneath here I have got some baby carrots. I had this in my refrigerator. I needed to go ahead and cook this. I wanted to have cabbage tonight as well. I normally don't cook this many vegetables, but since I need to go ahead and use this stuff, I figure if we have leftovers, it's not a problem. We can always eat on it later. But anyway, I put this into my steamer pot. This is a little basket. It's already starting to kind of get some condensation. But anyway, I've got a little bit of water in the pan or the pot below that, and you could do this in like a plug-in steamer or anything like that if you have one. But I am steaming these. I put the carrots in first because carrots are a little bit harder, and it tends to take them longer to cook. So I wanted them to get the bulk of the heat. I just sprinkle some salt and pepper on it. And I'm going to cook that probably for about 20 to 25 minutes. Once I get that going, I'll probably put it on the same time I do my rice. Now this one is what I've got ready for my rice. I just put in 2 cups of water, salt and pepper and butter. And as you can see, I've got my cup of rice here ready to go. Once I do decide to start dinner, I'm going to get this water boiling, pour in my rice, and then cover it and let it simmer for 20 minutes. And at that time, I'll also start this as well. Back here, I have got a yellow pepper. I actually had that in the refrigerator left over from some other things that I was cooking with peppers, and so I decided I wanted to go ahead and use that. And last time I mixed it in with my rice, and I thought it was really tasty, but I don't want to cook it together because my daughter probably would not eat it if I had it in there. So I'm just going to cook this up with some butter, get it nice and soft. I might have to put a lid on it to tender it up a little bit, but I'm going to do that. And then in this pot here, I have my cabbage, and it was a huge head of cabbage. So I cut that up, no, not really too teeny tiny pieces, but just chopped it up how the texture that I like it. Put it in my pot. I sprinkled it with some olive oil, and I didn't measure it. I just kind of drizzled it around over the top. I put salt and pepper on it. I did put some butter in it, and then this yellow stuff that you see here is actually chicken base. And let me get that container because I finished using it and I put it in my drainer. Sorry, but it's broth-based seasoning. I do use that to season and flavor a lot of dishes. Sometimes I will buy chicken stock, but that can get a little bit pricey. And if you've got one of these chicken base containers, if you sprinkle that into your water, same thing, just about as having chicken broth. To me, it is anyway, and it's just quick and simple. And like I said, I do still buy chicken broth from time to time, but when it comes to seasoning stuff, I'll just sprinkle some of that over top of it. My cabbage will probably end up cooking for about 45 minutes because it takes a little bit longer to cook as well. So I'm probably going to start this when I get ready to prepare my chicken. And the chicken that I'm having tonight, I call it French's fried onion chicken, but basically I'm going to be using the crispy fried onions. Walmart makes these. I just like French's better. I've tried the Walmart, and to me they're just not as good. I was going to see if it has the recipe on the back of this. Yes, it actually does. French's Crunchy Onion Chicken. And I will also put a link below to a recipe because Pinterest has it out there as well. It's very simple and easy to do. You can buy chicken tenders already ready to go. I just take chicken breast and I'll cut mine up into strips because it's just easier for us to buy chicken in bulk. I don't have it out yet because I am waiting for my husband to get home or to call me before I start that. But I went ahead and prepped it. I got me a bowl here. I'm going to put my egg in because you do need an egg to dip your chicken in. This dish, I'm going to crunch up my onions and put it in there. Then I've got a little bit of flour because you do have to use a little bit of flour in it as well. And then I went ahead and lined my baking pan so that I could lay those out as I do them. You'll notice that there is some tomatoes here. These are getting a little bit ripe and I just feel like I need to use them. So I'm going to skin those and slice them up and put them in there. I don't like the skins on my tomatoes, so anyway, I'm weird that way. And we're just going to have that in addition to the other stuff that we have. I got my scissors ready to go so that I can cut up my chicken. And now that I've got everything prepared, once I start to batter and coat my chicken and everything, I will put my camera down so that you can see that process as well. Okay, well, my husband hasn't called me yet, but I got to thinking it would probably be better for me to go ahead and start this, and I can go ahead and get my chicken laid out, and then when he does call me, all I gotta do is stick it in the oven. I don't even know what I was thinking. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the chicken together. I was just looking to see what I need to preheat the oven to. I need to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So I'm gonna do that. Oops. There we go. All right, and I'm going to get my chicken out of the refrigerator and get started. Okay, another good reason for me to go ahead and start doing this now is because the house is actually a little bit quieter. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut up my chicken. All right, so I'm just taking my chicken breast out, and I get pretty big ones, so and when I buy my chicken, I buy it, like I said, in bulk, and then I just go ahead and wash it and separate it and put it in zip freezer bags and stick it into my freezer. I realize I've got chicken juice all over my hand, but I will sanitize everything once I get done to make sure that anything that's touched or gotten on anything is gone. Now, it will have some of these little veins and stuff in them, and so I will, trim that off if there's any like excess fat or anything. I'll also cut that off as well. And then throw that in my little trash bag, or you can use a trash bowl, whatever makes it easy so that you ain't walking back and forth to the trash can 1,000 times. And I don't have any kind of, size or anything that I do. I just cut these into strips. Some of them may be shorter than others. I do try and at least maintain the same thickness, because when I'm cooking these in the oven, I want them to all get done at the same time. I wouldn't want some to get, dried out while waiting on the other ones to cook. And usually if I cut these into strips like this, I would say probably 3 is more than enough for one person. So we're probably going to end up having leftovers, and that's fine with us because these are really good, and it's actually my daughter's favorite, or Madeline's favorite, not so much Caitlin's. But if you'll see that the size, they're pretty long. Sometimes I'll cut them in half, and I probably will do that with this one. But, you just you can cut them however you want to. If you want to make nuggets out of them or whatever, you can certainly do that. But I'm going to go ahead and get those cut up, and then we'll start to do the batter. Okay, I've got all my chicken cut up and ready to go. And now I'm going to take my other plate, and I'm going to crunch up my onions in this. And you can use a paper bag or a plastic bag if you want to. Matter of fact, the recipe may state to do that. But it seems like whenever I try and shake my stuff around in a plastic bag, it ends up getting soggy. So I just prefer to, do it in a plate or a bowl or something. If I do use a bag, I'll probably use like a brown paper lunch sack. It just seems to work better that way. I don't know. And you're going to want to like crunch these up a little bit more fine. I'm trying to find my and what I do with this, I could probably use my food processor to do that with. There's all different ways you can do that. But what I usually end up doing is just using my little pastry blender, because they're fried and it don't take much to get them to break up. So I'll just smash these until I get them, you know, a little bit finer than they are. I don't worry about, you know, crushing them to death, but you just don't want them to be really big. They tend to coat your chicken. That wasn't good. They tend to coat your chicken better if they're a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and crunch these up. I do not add salt and pepper to my chicken because there's plenty of salt in the onion. And I just feel like that the onions are so flavorful that you really don't even need the pepper. Plus, I've got pepper in my other dishes, so this is kind of like that's what makes this dish so good and easy, because it's not a lot of ingredients, but it's very, very tasty. You don't need to add a lot to this. Okay. So now that I've got that done, it says to put a little bit of, like a tablespoon of flour, 1 or 2 tablespoons of flour in here. And I'm thinking it's so that it can absorb the oil off of the onions, because like I said, they are fried. So they probably could tend to be a little bit greasier. Plus it probably helps to coat the chicken also. And I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing it. I make this stuff all the time. So, you know, so once I get that in there, I'll just stir it around until I get the flour good and worked in. Set this aside. And so now I'm just going to crack my egg. And whisk this around. This is a mini whipper. I actually got this from Pampered Chef years ago, and I love this thing. It just does such a good job on, you know, beating up eggs and other things. So anyway, I've got my egg beat up. So now, kind of get me like a little production line going. I'm trying to set this stuff out where I can do this. So I'm going to have my chicken, my egg, and my onions. So I'm just going to take a piece. Do my egg batter. Put it in my onions, and I just kind of, well, I lay it down, but then I'll just take my spoon and just kind of like spoon it over top of it, and just kind of pat it down to make sure it gets evenly coated. Probably should have done this with a fork. I'll just pick it up, and then I will lay it on my full-lined baking pan. Okay, so that you can see what's going on better, I'm going to try and videotape this with one hand and then do this other stuff with another hand so that you can see it better. The way I had the camera before, it just was not, yeah, the view just wasn't very good. So I'm just taking my chicken and I'm just coating it with some egg, and then I'm going to move it over here and I'm going to drop it into the onion batter, and I just press it down in there, and then I'll take my fork or my spoon and I just kind of like cover it to make sure everything gets coated, and I'll press it down. If there's some places that, you know, you can't completely cover, it's not a big deal. Usually I have some left over after I get done, and I'll just sprinkle it over the top of my chicken, but then I'll just take it and then I transfer it to my baking sheet. And this is going to take me a little bit of time, so I'm going to go ahead and finish doing all these, and then it'll be ready to put in the oven. Okay, as you can see, I had more chicken than I had pans, so I did have to pull out something else to put it in. I did not line this one because it's a stone and it just doesn't stick like the metal pans do. But anyway, so you can see I've got plenty of chicken. I had already, when I started the second batch, I went ahead and started my cabbage. And with this, you probably noticed I didn't put any liquid in my cabbage. And that's because I think it tastes better without it. I think sometimes putting water and stuff in it kind of dilutes it. So I guess it's kind of like steam frying your cabbage, but you will have to stir that every so often or it can get burnt on the bottom of your pot. So right now I'm just waiting for my husband to give me a call and let me know when he's on his way. I had already started this as well. This is going to take some time. Once he lets me know he's on his way, I will go ahead and start cooking up my peppers, put my rice on, and then put my chicken in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so dinner is ready. I just put some butter into the pot here. I'm going to stir it in a minute after it melts a little bit. And then there's my rice, my cabbage. Of course, you've seen my chicken. And then this is what it looks like on the other one. And my tomatoes. Okay, so this is the final outcome. Looks very delicious, but I have got way too much food on that plate. What's the sad thing about it is I'm probably going to eat every bit of it. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you have a good day. Bye.